Well, hello everyone. I'm showing off my beautiful Smith & Wesson perfected model. It is nearly perfect. I mean, look at the bluing on this thing. And the barrel, everything on the inside looks unfired, if you can believe it. It is absolutely beautiful. But it's also broken. So, previous owners, I mean, I'm not a gunsmith, but I've bought enough used guns where you kind of learn to work on these things, and this one has a little bit of a story to tell about its moronic previous owner. But before I get into what actually happened, which I could tell from the evidence, I want to go over what's wrong with it. So right now you can see the action's closed and the latch is closed. Now if you don't know, a perfected model has both a thumb latch and a top latch. I believe it's to make it stronger, and so it could continue to use the 32 hand ejector lock work in the back, not to prevent someone from opening your gun, although it does kind of do that, but it seems like a silly primary reason. But when I got this, like I said, it wouldn't close and latch. Also, with it, if you could jam it closed, the cylinder wouldn't rotate. It would be locked. So let me show you something. Now, just like a modern Smith & Wesson revolver with the action open, the trigger is locked. So that if you don't know this, there's a button right in the center of the blast shield. You see right here? And the extractor nub right here fits inside. And that will unlock the trigger when it's that way, so it can't fire out a battery. So the other problem I noticed was this nub, of course, wasn't lining up. It was actually going past. I'm like, well, what's going on there? You know, there was a number of symptoms, and I also noticed a few weird marks. And you can see on the cylinder, right here where my finger is, you see that mark? Kind of odd. Kind of weird how that would happen. And then if you look up here by the frame, see right where my finger is? The steel's rolled out. That's kind of weird. So I figured out the problem before I discovered how the problem happened. So let me remove the cylinder. Bear with me just a moment, guys. Okay. So first thing I noticed was I could remove the cylinder without raising the latch. And that is not supposed to happen, right? And then if you look at the arbor here, you can see there's more wear on the bottom of the arbor than there is at the top. In fact, there's no wear at the top of the arbor, which means just the bottom was making contact with the cylinder. So after staring at it for long enough, I was able to tell that arbor was drooping down, which was causing all my problems. It was also causing problems with the extractor rod, because that was not even. There was all sorts of problems with this thing. But it all stems from this piece right here being bent down. Now I thought, man, there's no accidental way where you could bend that arbor in a gun like this. I thought, man, it must have come from the factory that way. But there's no way Smith & Wesson would let a gun that wouldn't fire out the door. They're going to fit test it for fit and function. So I'll show you what actually happened. So let me put the cylinder back in the frame. Again, just take a moment. Again, I've already worked to straighten that arbor, otherwise I couldn't even lock it up like I did. And this came to me right in the middle of the night. Okay, let me rotate that cylinder just a little bit. Trust me, it's worth it. Okay. So, I got up the next morning, it came to me at midnight. I was like, if this mark lines up with the mark on the frame then I know what happened. And let me show you. That mark on the cylinder, here's a screwdriver, matches that exactly, right? Which also matches the damage on the frame. Now the frame is pulled out and this was pushed in. So with the cylinder turned like this, some lunatic who didn't know how to open a perfected model jammed a screwdriver right here, exactly right there. And they pried up hard enough to force the cylinder down, bending the arbor. That's what happened to this gun. Some complete moron. Now doing that won't even open the gun, because you're just leveraging against the arbor. Like I said, you're bending that. You're not even forcing the dang thing open by doing that. But that's what somebody did to this beautiful piece. So, you know, previous owners are always idiots. This guy was the biggest idiot ever. So, I may take the arbor out. It is pinned in. I did get that pin out, but the arbor would not wiggle with my hand. So I may have to get a little ham-fisted with it. I am undecided whether I'm going to take the arbor out. I did just order a donor gun. Now, finding another perfected model, especially 38, is going to be impossible by just finding the barrel. So I ordered a 4th model 32, and just by the picture, that arbor looks similar. Not the same, but very similar. So I may try to swap the parts, which would be best. Otherwise, I may have to put it in a vise and kind of start squeezing, but I don't want to bend the top of the frame. I just want to bend the arbor, so it's risky, and I'm not really sure the best way to do it, but just by whacking it with a hammer, I was able to get it to close. So let's see what happens.